Let's talk about that. Let's switch the camera around. I don't be caring about all this stuff. People talking about, oh, look at, he got trash on the floor and this and that. But what are we talking about? I was just saying about somebody was born in the jungle. Mom just left the baby in the jungle. Like Tarzan. They say always talk about, we gonna talk about Tarzan. He left the baby in the jungle. What the hell? He know about somebody talking about, hey man, this ain't your land, this ain't your law. How in the hell do you gonna, who the hell you gonna tell me about some laws and you government, I'm looking at you like you a damn fool. Do you even understand that? So, we start talking about civilized and legalese and these type of situations. Lawful and these are terms and stuff that just, these terms getting made up daily. It's terms and things that's getting made up daily that you don't even agree with. So where the freedom lie? Where the freedom lie? Lie, lie. We'll see. Lie, lie. Where does freedom lie? Is there a line? Because when people in jail are being put in the cage, so that means you already, once you understand, animals are in cages. We start with that. Animals are in cages. Animals are put away and locked up and governed and told what to do. That's pets. You do that to pets. So we understand that. We understand what that is. That's inhumane. What they call human and shit. All that stuff. Excuse my French. I'm a French Indian. On a street called Volga. I got a cardinal in the garrison. Uh-huh. And then I even got a Sunnyvale. On a street called Prosperity, man. Do you even understand where I was born in, even the direction of who I am and what I think of my life is and how this world is? Going down Fordham Road, up in a Jenner Circle, man. Hanging out on Kathleen with my partner Diamond. Had an uncle named Big E. But I knew another Big E. And the Big E that I knew was somebody else from way back in the day when I first started in the game. But I started in the game knowing a Big E, two Big E's. Ain't that something? Wow. So in the game I started, me and GK. And see, what I know about people and how people are and who they was and stuff when I was growing up, we was in different leagues. Cause on my street, on the Volga, everybody was track star. I mean, well, this in my, I'm saying my depiction of life, in my walkabout of life. In my walkabout of life, it was different than everyone else outlook of life and how they vision. And this is my vision, and this is my description of what was going on from 2620 Volga. This is Mr. Mill, L to the G. Mm-hmm. LG, Lord God. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on some other things. I'm more Indian. Who? Who is who? Who's who? I'm you. Me and you. We one vibe. We one energy. One love. So we was discussing the word love. We was discussing love, what love means, and the transfusion of love in between. So I discovered it as my journey through life. I had a couple descriptions and a couple pathways that I went through, and I had said, "Man, why would I, judge somebody?" I was, I was in a whole temperament of understanding of how things went along. See, I've been in so many situations where, like I said, my upbringing was different than many others, and I transitioned and I moved around a lot. That's life, man. So as I grew up on my street, on my block, I grew up in a family where it was, they were military. I grew up in a military family, basically, because Christmas, everybody came home from the military all the time. I seen people come home from military, and I had my uncle on my grandmama's side, my uncle Claude. He was in military. His children, Uncle Claude Turrell, Junior, I guess. We gonna say that. I call him Uncle Claude. See, my grandfather, he was in the military. Old James Wesley Jones, Bo, and he was in the Korean War and World War One, and he said he was a medic, and you know, and his lifestyle was kind of crazy because he lost his parents at an early age, and he went through some kind of trauma. You know, he had like 9 sisters or something like that, and he was the fastest man in Waxahachie at one time. You know, he had a little education. He went to school, high school, and my grandmother, Joanne Mattie Turrell Jones, Ola Mae Bird was her mother. She was from Waxahachie. And then, what, Claude, I think it was Claude Turrell, was her husband. And, my Ola Mae Bird husband, I seen him before he passed. This was my great-great-grandfather. That was my grandmother's, Joanne's father. He had his leg just got cut off or something, I don't know. And he died soon after. He was, the little time I seen him, we went to his little house and shack or whatever. I don't know, he was a prominent man. They said he was real mean. He cussed people. I seen his leg. He was mad or something. He left the hospital and stuff. He didn't want them touching him, whatever. I guess he made himself come home, and they said he was still trying to move around on that leg when the leg got cut off. And you could see. I went in that room and seen that. You could smell the blood throughout the house. I remember that time. When we came over to the house, it was an old white house. He stayed in Ennis, Texas. There was inner sticks then. I mean, at that time, there was, you know, I was a kid, I was a baby. That's just things I can remember those things now. I still remember those things. I was traumatized all my life. I've been through so much trauma. They said I was a little. They said I was born premature. I was a little rat. They said I slept in a drawer one time. Wow. My mama Loretta Ann Jones. They said my father was Huey Gibson, football star, Sock, South Oak Cliff. I think there's a couple things. I heard he was a star. I heard he was a gangster. I heard a whole bunch of things. I heard I never seen him. I've never seen him. And I seen my mother when she left me at the age of 4. I don't know if she got killed or I really don't understand it. This been some kind of crazy thing because all throughout my life, my grandmama used to make suggestions like we go places, to stores, to the aircrafts and stuff. And I mean, W. Bushman, you know, plays. And when I was at Oliver Wendell Holmes, I was singing in the choir, and my grandmama and we go places. Sometimes they, and I sing and I was doing little things. I was in the Boy Scouts. I went to go camping and I had an eventful childhood. I moved around a lot. I did a lot of things. They kept me busy. I had an Aunt Mary. She stayed in South Dallas. They took her in the house now. Curtis Coates was he's my cousin. But I don't know which aunt. I had Aunt Penny, Aunt Eddie, Aunt Rita, Aunt BB. I got my grandfather had a whole bunch of sisters. Aunt Lily. I remember Uncle Bean before he passed. My Aunt Rita and Uncle Arthur. They stayed by Sock. He was a literature guy. I heard some stories about him. I heard something strange happen between him and my mother. I don't know about it. That's depicting things I don't know. I heard some things. uh I heard so many different things. I heard things throughout my life. My Aunt Mary used to call me J-Bo. Oh, J-Bo. My grandfather, he smoked cigars and he was a cool dude. He really didn't talk much. He was a carpenter. He was a foreman for Texas Instruments. And I found out that he had everybody in the neighborhood used to work for him. I didn't know that. Until I got older and I started, I hustled when I was a kid and everybody always knew me in the neighborhood, but they didn't know why I was hustling while I was on the block. hmm Because I seen my Uncle Luther, he was a millionaire. He had a BMW Cherry. He was a successful man. He went to SMU. He was a basketball star. All my fantasy, I grew up on my street. The only thing we knew about was sports. My uncle Rodney Nickerson, Rodney Nickerson Jones, my Uncle Terry William Jones. Terry was a track star. He ran for Sock. Rodney played for Sock. My Aunt Vet, Joyce Vet Jones. She went to Maceo Smith, the older Maceo Smith, the older Maceo Smith, the older Maceo Smith. For my time, that's when it was on, what they call it, on Bickley. Is that Bickley? Yeah, that's on Bickley, right there on the corner right now. next to the old Motel 8, whatever it is, the Sock Apartments. And see, back then, that was a Maceo Smith. They ain't have football, none of that stuff. They moved Maceo Smith in the hood. You know, ain't that something? Maceo Smith was like a technical school back then. And that what Vet went to. She played golf. She was a learner. I call her a learned person. She read books to me and read Latin and all kind of things and taught me a whole bunch of things, sign language, and she was doing psychology, and I was reading psychology books and stuff when I was growing up. I read a lot. We had encyclopedias. And we had a lot of information going on. We traveled. I traveled a lot. I did a lot of things when I was growing up. I did a lot of things. I always had to help. I was always helping. I was always working. Before I even got a job was nothing to me because I knew I was going to be something else because I already knew how to do everything. My Uncle James Earl Robinson, Luther Robinson, brother, and there was Joanne Mattie Turl Jones. She was a Robinson. She had a husband before then, and James Wesley Jones had a family before then. See, they had already children already, and this was my Uncle Bubba Killer. He was a motorcycle rider. And he was in Vietnam and all that stuff. And my Uncle Sonny, Tyrone Jones. My Aunt Catherine Jones. She was the manager at High Heels over by Motions and stuff by Roosevelt. She was the manager for them apartments all my life. My cousin Derek and Chris and they all stayed over there. Then Uncle Sonny and them stayed in Broadgate back in the day. And my Aunt May, my cousin Shay, my cousin Tabitha. Aunt May. They stayed in Broadgate then. I used to go over there. And I used to go to Uncle Bubba's house and he stayed in Arlington. My cousin Jamie. He had everything. We used to watch pornos when they leave and stuff. We sneak in the bedroom and watch pornos and stuff. And all kind of crazy things. And we was always going to church all the time, going studying the Bible. And I grew up in church. All my life I grew up in church. We was always going to Bible studies, and that's all we did was go to Bible study. I go to somebody's house, we Bible studying. We always Bible studied. All growing up, I was just always in Bible study. Everybody go over somebody's house, everybody praising God, praising the Lord. We was always Bible studying. Then I was in the Boy Scouts, and like I said, I was always doing everything. They always kept me busy. My Aunt Mary, my Curtis Codine, my Aunt Penny. What was it? My Aunt Pearl. I got so many aunties. My grandfather had so many sisters. Pimp C was my kinfolk. This song. Erykah Badu, my cousin, because it's Huey. I mean, I got to know so many people and so many different things. I didn't know, but I didn't care about it because I was always me. I was hustling the streets. I was doing my own thing. I was trying to find out what this world was. I always felt like I was special in a way. I always knew I was more then everything, because my grandma always used to tell me all this stuff. My grandma always constantly tell me, oh, you ain't gonna never have to worry about anything in the world. You ain't never have to worry about nothing. Just stay out of trouble. Don't get killed. That way she always told me don't get killed. And I was always trying to kill myself, I guess. She always tell me about women. I've seen all these women doing people in my life wrong. So I said I wanted to get in the streets early and learn about women. And so I guess as I hustled, every female I knew was always grown women. They was always already whoring. And they was always teaching me the game. They always give me money. And so I was in the game. I didn't even know a girl my age because I automatically just started messing with grown women. But as a kid, I had my friend, little friends and stuff, people on my street. Everybody my girlfriend. From time to time, we all went with the girls. Everybody was the girlfriend I loved. We had crushes on our street, in our neighborhood and stuff, and little things. We talked on the phone. We go meet people and go places. I always had somebody to talk on the phone to. I talked on the phone all the time when I was growing up. We talked on the phone. I got a whole bunch of girlfriends through the phone that I ain't never seen. And when I got in the game, they used to see me and be like,